Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things do happen in this world. The message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I have come here on your platform so that I can tell you everything that I was told by my own father, for I have been keeping this secret for a very long time, and it has been almost like a heavy burden that I have been carrying around with me in my heart. So what happened was that me and my siblings, we came here to Europe, where we are currently staying. And when I came here, I got married, as well as all of my siblings. They all got married and we had our kids here. When we came here, we were staying with our auntie, who is our father's sister. She was the one who was taking care of us when we were still going to school. So after I had gotten married, then that was when my father told me that he wanted me to immediately come back to Zim. So I kept on postponing, because it seemed as if my father just wanted to have a discussion with me. And you know that it is not very cheap for you to just say that I want to return back to Africa all of a sudden, because of the flight tickets and everything. So I had to properly organize each and everything. So but my father kept on telling me that I needed to return back home. Yes, I was supposed to return back home. Since I am his only son, there was something that he wanted to tell me. So when I looked at my daughter, I then said she had never gotten the opportunity to see her grandparents. So I took my wife, my kids. We then traveled all the way from Europe and we came to Zim. When we came to Zim, what surprised me was that my father never gave me the opportunity to rest, because he came and he picked us up at the airport. It was him and my mom and a few relatives. They came and they picked us up at the airport. Then we went straight back to my father's house. Whilst we were there, then my father said that I was supposed to follow him. So I followed my father straight to his bedroom, and he said that, my son, I want us to have a discussion. I want us to talk. And he told me that he had his own confession. So when he started to give me his confession, my father, is someone who was connected to a lot of people who worked in the government, I knew that there was a lot of corrupt deals that my father had gotten himself involved in. My father, as an engineer, he had gotten a lot of tenders whereby they were fixing some roads. So I knew that the reason as to why my father had gotten most of these tenders, it was not because of his brilliance, but it was because of corruption. He was going to get these tenders, then in turn there was a politician who was hidden somewhere, and you end up giving most of the money to that politician, but my father was still going to make a huge sum of money. You know how things operate in these governments. So I knew that my father had been doing this, and this is how he had acquired all of his wealth. But little did I know that the confession that my father was about to give me, it was going to shock the hell out of me. So my father, he then said to me, my son, the reason as to why I am this rich, the reason as to why you are able to live in Europe and you grew up in Europe, it is because I stole someone's wealth. So when he said that he had stolen someone's wealth, I just thought that he meant that he had stolen the wealth from the poor people in our country. And I started to tell him that everything was okay. I comforted him and I said that everyone in government at that time, when you were working in the government, oh dear father, everyone was just doing corruption. Even right now, there is still corruption that is still going on. So please do not blame yourself, because as a man, you did all that you could so that your children and your grandchildren can have a brighter future. Look at me, Dad. Look at your grandchildren and look at all of your kids. Don't you think that you did not give them a head start in life? Oh yes, you gave us a head start in life, and we are very comfortable at the place where we are, and we know that for a fact in our family there will never be poverty again all because of your sacrifices that you did. So please do not judge yourself with the corruption that you did. Do not feel guilty, because everyone is doing corruption in one way or another. So my father then said that, no, I am not talking about corruption, dear son. I am talking about this other lady. And that was when he reminded me about this other young woman. So this young woman, we used to go with her at the same church, at our assembly that was in the neighborhood where I grew up in. So this lady, she had been impregnated by this other man who was a married man. After she had fallen pregnant, that was when that man refused the pregnancy and the baby. And my father reminded me about that young woman. And yes, I remembered her. My father then said that, you still remember the time that I was given that task to go and pray for her? And I said, indeed, yes, I do remember, Dad. He then said that there was a day when he had gone to pray for this young woman. As he was busy praying for this young woman, that was when he felt that his spirit was telling him that this young woman had a great gift of wealth, but this great gift of wealth, she had been given this gift by the marine spirits. So my father, he had also been given this other spirit by his own grandmother, so that when he comes into contact with someone who has these marine spirits, he can actually steal or take away by force those marine spirits, so that they can start to work for him, to make money for him. And that was what my father did at that time. My father then took that young lady as if he was just trying to help her. And there was a time that we started to stay with that young woman at our place. But what my father confessed to me was that when he took that woman to stay with us at our family home, my father and my mother had both gone to visit this traditional healer. So the traditional healer, he had told them to bring this young woman. So it was very impossible, and it was impossible for them to bring this young lady when she was staying somewhere else. But now that they had pretended as if they were taking care of her, it was quite easy for them to go around with her visiting their traditional healers. My father then said that when he took this young woman to that traditional healers consultation room, this young woman was then made to sit on a reed mat, and my father was kneeling right in front of her. My father was then given, there are those old coins that have a hole in the middle of them. My father then told me that those coins are quite important, because those were the coins that are recognized by our ancestors, since those were the coins that they used when they were still alive. And he then handed over this old coin to that woman, accepted this old coin that she was being given by my father. What she did not understand was that, in fact, she was actually selling off her marine spirits that wanted to give her a great gift of wealth to my father. And after that, my father was then given a lot of herbs and charms, and most of them, they contained your slow poison. And when each and every time when they would give this young lady some food to eat, my father or my mother will sprinkle those herbs that started to slowly kill this young lady. My father then took this young woman and went with her back to her village. He bought a lot of groceries for her and pretended as if he was a man who cared for this young woman, since he was the elder in the church. Then this woman, when she passed away, my father confessed, and he said that he had been told by that traditional healer that he was supposed to make sure that the spirit of this young woman was going to be happy. So my father was the one who did everything at this young woman's funeral. He bought the coffin, he fed everyone that had came to attend that funeral, and my father lied to that woman's relatives that the money that he was using, it was a form of a donation that had been given by the church, but this money, it came straight from my father's pockets, and he started to make a lot of money. My father confessed to me, and he said that the reason as to why that woman died, it was not because of your natural causes, but she was killed by those mermaids that once possessed her body. So each and every time when my father would feed this slow poison to this young woman, the mermaids will start to feel so much pain, and when they saw that they could not defend her anymore, the only thing that they could do was to murder this young woman, and that is how she passed away. By the time that my father died, it was really scary. The things that my father used to do, they were quite scary, because he kept on screaming and saying that he was seeing these mermaids that kept on coming to him and wanting to take him to somewhere where he did not know where they wanted to take him to. My father kept on screaming until the day that he died. So these things that I was told by my father, I have never told them anyone. All that I want to know is that the things that were done by my father, are they not going to affect me? Are they not going to affect my children? Because I do not want my kids to suffer because of my father's sins. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear brother. So that is the narration of that message that was sent to me. Strange things do happen in this world. Yo.